Week 1, we are back. 2016 value picks, NFL, FanDuel DraftKings. Let's do this. Alex, it's been a long off season. You didn't play any baseball, dude.
Yeah, no. I started off hot, and then the season was bad. Like, pitching just didn't go the way it should have, and I just quit really quickly. I didn't want to waste my money.
So the beginning of the season, yeah, but like you could have made money off of that.
It never normaled out. It really didn't. It was too unpredictable, and I wasn't trying to spend 3 hours a day figuring it out.
For an extent, yeah, but like it was like,
hey, it's football season. Let's not talk about baseball. It's football time.
I mean, it's still baseball season, dude.
Yeah.
It's still baseball season. But that's not why we're here. We're here to talk football. So let's do this. We're doing a value pick, right? Just to give you guys a heads up of what we're doing this year. We're doing one show a week. That's pretty much because we're all busy and we don't get paid for this. So it doesn't get as much of our time as we'd like. So one show a week for us this year. It's likely going to be a value pick show every time. But we still want to do stuff like the Listener League. So the link for that is in the description. So go ahead and sign up for that. I'm also wondering if people want to do a DraftKings League, hit me up because I'm going to start one up with a couple of my buddies here. So if anybody wants to join in on that, let me know and we'll increase the size of that, whatever the hell it means. I really don't know what the DraftKings Leagues are all about, but we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. It should be fun though. So reach out to me on Twitter. Hit me up if you guys want to join or leave a comment, and we'll get you hooked up in that too. But yeah, value picks is going to be it. We'll try to do, keep up with the Q&A, try to keep up with the Listener League winner coming on, stuff like that. We had a lot of fun with that last year, so hopefully you guys did too. But yeah, let's roll right into it. We've got a couple of quarterbacks. We've got some limitations this year, right? So we want to keep it to really good content for you guys. So we're setting limits on the DraftKings prices for people that we're going to talk about. For quarterbacks, it's going to be $6,000 or less. Running back and wide receiver, it's going to be $4,500 or less. Tight ends, $3,500 or less. Defense, $3,000 or less. Again,
we'll change things up depending on how the pricing shakes out for the season. But for right now, that's kind of going to be the baseline just for now. Because this is we're strictly trying to find you guys to squeeze into your lineup to help you fit those studs that we want to play every week.
Exactly. So with that, we're going to look at Sunday only, obviously, because DraftKings only had, I think, 2 slates. And if you want to do all the games, you had to play tonight, which is kind of weird. Don't they normally have Sunday, Monday slates?
Yeah, but I guess because of the 2 games on Monday, they might just throw in a late Monday only slate.
That's true.
I didn't understand that either. I was really because we're missing out on some value on those Monday night games.
Yeah, we're missing out on Bob Vance.
Yeah, and Eli Rogers isn't even registered for this week.
Oh, jeez. All right, so we'll dive in then. Let's start with quarterbacks. Our first quarterback is a transplant. He hasn't played in, I think, almost 2 years, but he's now the starter over in Cleveland. RG3 sitting at 5,600 on DK. So talk to me here a little bit, Alex. What do you like about him?
Well, I like that he's kind of shown a little more in the preseason than he has shown in the past 2 years in Washington. The aforementioned bad years that he finished off in Washington. He's got legitimate wide receivers now. I know Josh Gordon isn't there this week, but Corey Coleman's really good, and he's actually shown some really nice chemistry with Terrell Pryor. Who would have thought that would have worked out? Plus, you have Philly's really not that good. I think their pace is going to be better this year because they don't have Kelly, so it's going to be a little slower. But I still think that in a game that the Eagles are favored, the Browns are going to have to throw the ball at some point. And even if they aren't as successful throwing the ball, I still think that RG3 is going to give you not a great floor, but a decent floor. He's going to run the ball a couple times, get you a couple free points in addition to what he's able to do during the game. So He's also got Barnage. He's got Duke that he can throw it to. I'm not sure how effective that running game is, and I think they need to throw. I wouldn't have huge exposure to this, but, I mean, he has the ceiling. We've seen it. It just needs to happen. And I think this is a good game for that to occur.
So I agree with you that there's going to be passing attempts to be had. A couple of things that worry me about RG3. One is that the Philly front seven is actually pretty good. I think they're underrated. It's their secondary that I think kind of blows. So hopefully that's good for Pryor and Coleman, Barnage getting out there. But I think that they're going to get to RG3. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's got a fumble
this isn't a cash game play. This is strictly tournament only. Probably got to pair him with one of Coleman or Pryor or both, and maybe it hits.
Right.
This isn't like, hey, you should be stacking your lineups with RG3. It has that upside, and his price is so low that if he gets you 20, that is week winning for you for that particular lineup. If you hit everywhere else, obviously. But it allows you to fit a lot of those guys in that you want to fit in, especially if you stack them up with Terrell, who we'll talk about later. He's at min price. You get studs on those two. And if that hits, that's big.
That's true. Okay, so GPP stack right there, kind of nice. Lets you be super contrarian too, because not only is nobody really going to be on them.
I think that it's going to be a little higher than people think. I think people are kind of like thinking it might happen. I just from my experience from doing research over the past couple of weeks. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be huge, but I think that in conjunction with paying up at like running back, for example, or paying up at tight end, you could easily differentiate yourself in a lineup with that combination, as opposed to a lot of people are going to go after some of the value picks that we're going to talk about. And then they're going to pay up at receiver, right? You're going to see Julio 90 million% owned. You're going to see Odell's up there. AJ Green. They're all going to be super highly owned, I think. Whereas pay up at running back, that's going to be an easy way to differentiate yourself this week. I mean, like 30 yards, 200 yards, 30 yards on the ground, 200 in the air, and a passing touchdown. That's basically value for RG3 too. So keep that in mind. 2 touchdowns and you're sitting pretty with them.
All right, moving on to the next guy. He is on the opposite side of the ball here. Hasn't played since week 1 of the preseason, I think, maybe week 2. Apparently he's good to go, but we'll see about that. It's Carson Wentz sitting at $5K. I'm going to have 0 shares of him. So what about you, Alex?
I'll have 1 at least. I think he has, again, like RG3, he has that ability to run the ball. He's athletic. It's definitely not. It's the least safe play of all the quarterbacks by far.
Yes,
even more so than whoever starts at quarterback in Minnesota. But I honestly maybe Tannehill's the worst, but that's just because Tannehill. But with Wentz, like he has the tools. I mean, I think that's clear. He's a little bit raw. The Eagles like what they've seen. But I feel like he can be kind of like an Alex Smith 2.0, especially because Doug Peterson, the offensive coordinator, is of the Chiefs, is now his head coach. He's going to use him similarly. They both have that rushing ability. I think Wentz is a little toolsier, but he's going to be treated more like Alex Smith, at least in the early going until he gets his feet under him. And he has pretty solid weapons. I mean, he has Ertz he can throw to. He has Jordan Matthews, and those are guys that are going to get those short to intermediate targets. Plus, I think even though I don't like him for season long, Ryan Matthews for this week is a great play, and it'll take a lot of pressure off of Wentz in this game. Plus, the Browns' defense is really bad, like really bad.
Yeah.
It's really matchup dependent. If he was going up against anybody else, he wouldn't be recommended. But this is a pretty easy matchup, and I feel like there will be lanes for him to throw the ball, and he might get you a couple yards rushing.
Yeah. All right, let's move to our last quarterback, and that's Mr. Chalk this week. I think if he is any less than 90% owned in cash games, I'm going to be very surprised, and that's Dak Prescott.
I think you're wrong. I think it's going to more towards 30-40.
In cash?
Yeah.
Who else are they going to play in cash? Are you kidding me?
It's not the safest. I think it'll be higher in tournaments than cash. personally.
No. He's
There's
5K going against the Giants at home.
Way too many good matchups at quarterback this week. When you think about Stafford, you have Carr, you have Luck, there are so many good matchups for quarterback that I don't think that you're going to see Dak 90% owned.
I think you'll see him definitely higher.
Want to be contrarian to not have Dak.
You'll definitely see him higher than 30% owned in cash games.
We'll see.
Absolutely.
I think he's the safest of these three options. He has
yes.
I think he has the highest floor and the highest ceiling. But I'm not he looks great. He looked great in the preseason. I've been very impressed, but at the same time, he's not facing the real defenses he was going to be facing in the regular season.
Very true.
That game where he exploded against the Seahawks first team defense, they had no idea he was going to be playing. Romo got hurt. There was zero game plan as far as he was concerned because he came in off the bench, and you're getting a completely different look from Romo. Now you've had at least 2 weeks since the injury where a team can plan against them. And I think that the Giants' defense isn't good, but it's better. Their front is better. Obviously, Dallas's line is outstanding, but it's still a rookie quarterback going up against a decent pass rushing team in a divisional game. That's my worry.
So what about so you don't think he'll be highly owned in cash games, right?
No, I think he will be highly owned, but we're not. It's not 90%.
It's gonna be more than 50, and I think it's definitely gonna be more than 50%. But that's regardless, right? So we agree to disagree on that. Are you going to be overweight or underweight on him versus the field in GPPs?
Probably under. I think there's a lot of better matchups this week. Like I said before, Stafford, Carr, Breeze, Luck, those shootout games, and it's week 1. I'm not going to put all my chips in on a rookie quarterback, even if he's been priced. I'm just not going to do it.
And we talk about differentiation, right? Even if he's say 30% owned, not playing him in a GPP is an easy way to differentiate yourself because I think again, like we just said with RG3 and prior with that stack, if you do Dez and Witten or something Dak and Witten, you're paying very, very little and you have high upside, but so many people are going to do that again to get Julio in, to get David Johnson in, so on and so forth. It's an easy way to differentiate yourself by fading Dak in a tournament.
Right. And another thing I think is being just about this whole team, the way this team outlook is with Zeke, with everybody on this team, is that this Dallas defense is awful. They're injured, they're suspended, and they're just bad. The only really decent playmakers they have are Sean Lee, Anthony Hitchens, and Barry Church in the backfield, in the secondary. That's not a lot. They have no pass rush. They have almost no semblance of a line. I think that people that imagine this being a ball control run offense are going to be hit in the mouth because this defense is not going to be able to keep them in games as much as people think. And I think that especially will hurt Dak this week because if they get down and the Giants are able to pin their ears back and pass rush for a half being down, you'd think that would be good to add to his passing, but if he doesn't get touchdowns and he winds up turning the ball over, that's a complete recipe for disaster.
Of course.
So I'm trying to just explain the downside. Obviously, the upside is he can run the ball. He's looked good throwing the ball. He still has Dez. He has Witten. He has Zeke to take pressure off of him.
He's got talent around him, that's for sure.
He's not I don't think he's the best play of the week. I think he's a great, obviously, value pick. He's at min price, and he has the upside, but I don't think that he's the week winner, personally.
All right, moving on to running back, another chalky guy. We spent way too much time on Dak, but this guy we won't spend as much time on Spencer Ware. So Jamal Charles looks to be, I think nobody really expects him to play. So
even if he does, it's not much.
Even if he does, he's likely to be limited touches. So Spencer Ware looking to get the majority. He was catching the balls out of the backfield in the preseason too. So it's not like they're going to sub him out, for passing down. So you'll look at getting those PPR points. any reason not to play Ware in cash?
No.
That's what I thought. Yeah, he's another one. I think he's going to be majority owned in cash.
He had 2 great games against the Chargers last year. He runs very well between the tackles. He's starting to show that he can catch the ball a little bit, which makes me sad because I have a couple of Chuck Hendricks shares in Dynasty, but whatever. But he's good, and I think even going forward, like, he's such a good goal line back that he has the touchdown potential this week and even going forward as a vulture, depending on how much JC's knee continues to bug him. But for this week, like, he's a 3-down back for sub 4,500. It's a no-brainer.
All right, let's move on to another $4,400 running back, and that's Charles Sims. So another backup, but Ware has the potential to start. Sims doesn't. So I don't want to say infatuation. What do you like about Sims?
So what I like about Sims is last year, obviously, I think he was the PPR running back 17 overall, and he didn't really do much early. Doug Martin, for as great as he is rushing the ball, he's never on the field in 3rd down, and I think the Bucs make a very concerted effort to make sure that they get Sims the ball because he is one of their best playmakers. Also, specifically for this matchup, I think Atlanta was the worst team as far as giving up points to receiving running backs last year, and I think they gave up around 7 or 8 receptions per game to running backs last year. So that's huge for him because I don't think Doug Martin is going to be that guy to get those passes. And if they're giving up 7, 8 catches, that's 8 free points for Sims off the bat, in my opinion, and which could be more because that's just an average. So depending on how game flow goes, again, this is a divisional matchup in the Dome in Atlanta, fast track. This could be a high-scoring game. This is a nice way to get a cheap piece of that with a guy that has explosive playmaking ability.
Okay, I like it.
Again, he's not starting, and he doesn't have as much touchdown upside as some other guys, but he has that floor of catching the ball, get those free points catching the ball, and he can make plays as well as anybody in this offense.
You're not comfortable playing him in cash, right?
I'd probably be more comfortable playing him in cash.
Really?
Oh, I think he's as safe as it gets as far as PPR running backs go. I love his upside, and I'm going to be playing him in tournaments. But I mean, as a cash option, he's great because I don't see Tampa Bay being up by 2 scores early in Atlanta.
So let's be really quick with it then. We'll take out another running back right now. Him or Sproles this week?
Him, 100%. Not even close.
Really? Now, why is that?
Well, let me just double check the spread. Falcons are favored. Bucs are behind. They'll be throwing a little bit more. Eagles are favored. Not going to be throwing as much. Plus, I think Ryan Matthews does a lot more work in that game. And again, like I said, the Falcons do really poorly against those running backs that catch the ball. This is just a great matchup for him.
Now, something that I read in the previous couple of weeks was the Eagles' new offensive coordinator. I know Peterson came over as their head coach, but their new offensive coordinator came from San Diego, where Woodhead was a big factor in the red zone. He also was a huge PPR monster. Do you think that carries into Sproles? Maybe not this week, but season long, you think it carries into Sproles' role?
Absolutely. Absolutely, I think it carries over, but I don't think this week is the week that carries over because
of the game flow. All
that team, and the game flow won't dictate that.
Makes sense.
It's not the week for him. But again, this is a week for Sims because they are slight underdogs.
Yep.
They're on the road, and I have a feeling that this game is that underrated shootout that people are going to be looking at with a lot. There's going to be a lot of gold in this game.
That's interesting. This could be a sneaky stack then. This game stack. Okay. Let's move on at 4,300. You gave me Powell. Tell me this is Bilal Powell?
Oh, yeah, Bilal.
Now, explain yourself.
Well, I think that Forte's just getting himself in the offense, but they both got the same amount of money, and it's pretty much I'm not going to say a guarantee, but it's expected that it's going to be a 50-50 split. And I think at this point in their careers, Powell might be the better runner. And he still has that ability to catch passes. And depending on how game flow goes, he should be able to get enough touches that it's worth it. This one is definitely not a cash game play, for sure. I think Sims is much safer because he has that definite role, and I know they're going to get him involved. Plus, there's potential for a shootout, whereas this Jets-Cincy game is going to be a little bit more low scoring. Mm-hmm. I think a few less plays are going to be had in this game also. So his variance will be a little bit higher, so I think that it's better for a tournament play. But we saw when he was given the opportunity last year, he produced well. And obviously, as a Jets fan, I get to see him every week, and he can play.
Okay. I see that as strictly GPP personally. So you're on board with me there?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I said that at the beginning, but
settle down. Okay, I'm going to leave Powell to you.
Yeah,
I haven't really paid attention to him much this offseason, so I'll let your expertise talk there. Now, TJ Yeldon, 4,100. I think this is a steal for this guy this week.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like, okay, Chris Ivory's there, in Jacksonville now. He can be a goal line back and take stuff away, but Yeldon's still going to catch passes, and this is predicted to be a pretty high-scoring game. So at 4,100, I mean, he's cash viable in my eyes.
Maybe. But I will say two things about Ivory. First, I think he's a little bit banged up, and I think that
even better
way to Yeldon getting a few more touches. Two, Ivory, he's thought of as this great goal line back, but he really wasn't that great as a goal line back. He was a Jet for 2 years. I've watched him. Again, like Powell, I've watched Ivory. He's scored touchdowns from close in, but he is not the most successful goal line runner. He's not incredibly efficient in that area.
Yep.
Also, I think that they're going to be down. They're playing your Packers. You know this.
I do.
And Yeldon is going to be the third down guy. Ivory doesn't catch a lot of passes, and I don't think they're going to bother putting him in the field on third down when they have Yeldon, who, from what I've seen, is a great playmaker catching the ball. Running the ball, I feel like I'm not sure what kind of shake he really got in Jacksonville. I didn't watch all of their games, but what I saw from him, especially in the game that they played against the Jets last year, whenever he caught the ball out of the backfield, he was explosive. And in a game like this where there could be a lot of points and a lot of throwing and a lot of like medium to long third down plays, this is a guy that's going to do a lot. I mean, I don't know if there's going to be a touchdown or not, but I think there's going to be a lot of volume for him this week.
I absolutely agree. A lot of volume.
Touches. I don't want to say volume because I feel like volume kind of insinuates that he's going to run the ball.
Touches, volume equals touches, not carries, right? So at 4,100 again, in a cash game, you're looking for 12 points. I mean, that's 4 catches for 40 yards and then 40 yards on the ground. For me, I'd have no problem playing him in cash. And just and being happy paying up at receiver. So okay, love him. Yep. Love the fact that Ivory's beat up. He's not beat up.
I think he was a little limited in practice, and
it was a calf injury, right? I think I just saw that earlier tonight. Some calf injury. He's been limited the past couple days.
And I've seen as limited. You think he's playing that week, and then all of a sudden, two carries in, he's not playing anymore.
Right. And let's not forget this game is in Jacksonville. Right, so heat and everything down there. I mean, I don't know how bad it is, but who knows in terms of conditioning and sweating and everything if that calf is going to act up on him early in the game. So I'll be avoiding Ivory. If I have any Jacksonville running back shares, it's all going to be Yeldon for me. Next running back, Christine Michael. I'm assuming that's it at 3,700 on DraftKings.
Yep.
So I think we gushed about him. Was it last year or the year before? We were dying to see him get in.
Everyone is. Truthers are everywhere, and I bought in for a little bit. My bad.
We did. And it looks like Rawls is going to be on a snap count.
Yeah.
So sitting there at 3,700 in a game where, let's go back to game flow. They're at home, favored by a lot. expected to be
favorites of the week. This is
expected to be up, early and often. Looks like he's probably going to get a lot of volume. Again, another one. Are you okay playing him in cash?
Yeah, I think so, because with the spread the way it is, and then being favored so heavily, if this game gets out of hand quickly, which I think it has every potential to do so, they're not going to waste Rawls. They're treating it like a preseason game for Rawls. He's going to get a couple snaps to kind of get his feet under him, and then when the game's out of hand, they're not going to risk him.
Yeah, right.
They have this guy who's been great lately, and against a team that isn't going to stop them anyway. Why would they waste Rawls? So I think that Christine Michael is going to be able to get you 15 plus touches this week, and 15 plus touches in that offense against this defense.
Against that defense, especially.
That defense gave up, I think it was like 11 top 12 running backs last year in PPR.
Dude, so think about it, though. They've still got Ndamukong Suh right up the middle. How are they so bad?
They just really are.
I don't get it. I don't get it. But anyway, I won't get too deep into that. But yeah, I like Michael this week. A lot of cheap running backs that I like especially in cash. So interesting. Not going to be hard to pay up for receiver this week, or tight end or quarterback. Whatever position you want. If you're down at running back, you can pay up anywhere else. So
that was my point with that. Like, there are options later, like further down. Like, there are running backs, receivers, and tight ends that don't force you into paying up for, or using Dak. You can pay up for that quarterback.
Yep. Okay, let's go to our last running back, and that is James White, 3,600.
Never cash. If it's a Patriots running back, do not play him in cash. That is a rule.
That's always a rule. I'll agree with you. But let's take the Sims logic and apply it here, and the Michael the opposite of the Michael logic, and apply it here, right? Team that's on the road, that's a heavy underdog, expected to be behind with a I'll say crappy quarterback, right? Likely gonna dump off quite a bit, and he's their receiver out of the backfield. I mean, again, right? You're looking at what would you think would be a likely stat line for him coming out of here? 6 catches for 70 yards. And
I mean, we saw in the preseason, we've seen last year, he can turn a catch into 80 yards. So
there's
accountability if he catches the ball in the right amount of space. I think that's the only way. I feel like James White is the only way that Garoppolo is going to get a touchdown in the first 3 quarters. I won't put it. I think he can get a garbage time touchdown in the 4th quarter if it comes to that on his own, but I don't see him throwing a touchdown in the first 3 quarters against this defense. The way he's looked, with the way his offense is still really banged up. Edelman's not 100%. Amendola's not 100%. Gronk today came out and said he was 100%.
Yeah, just gonna say
not back. Like, this offense has issues.
Yeah, it's going to be. I think that Gronk news is pretty heavy too, because he doesn't typically do it, but he could line up for those dump offs too, right? He could line up out wide, and they could screen him, or he can run a little drag. That's not going to be there, especially if they get down early. Belichick's going to pull him and say, all right, you're not 100%, just come right off the field, and we'll just continue dumping it off.
Yeah, I think I had anywhere from 4 to 6 touches through the air for James White by itself. Just the Gronk news.
I'll take it. All right, let's move on to wide receiver, and the first 3 we're going to talk about are in the same game. One is actually over our threshold by $100, and that's Marvin Jones sitting at 4,600. He's chalk in my eyes. He's been talked about for so long now, how he's so much cheaper than Golden Tate, so I don't think we really need to dive in too deep going against that horrible and vacant Colts secondary, right? I think they're, Vontae Davis isn't there, and several others.
Antonio Cromartie, people.
Yes, the skeleton that is Antonio Cromartie. So instead, let's hop to the other side of the ball. Let's hop to the slot there. Bolden at 4,500, and then on the other side of the ball, Dorsett at 4,500. Talk to me a little bit about, do you prefer either one, or are you looking at, I already have 2 lineups that are stacking this entire game. So yeah. What are you looking at here? Are you looking, if you had to pick one, right? You have $4,500 left in your last wide receiver slot. Which one are you going with, and why?
Probably Bolden, because depending on how up to speed Ebron is, I think Bolden has the capability of dominating the red zone targets. I think he has a higher. He's got a much higher chance of getting red zone targets than Dorsett. Where Dorsett, you just kind of need him to get open and score a long one.
Okay.
But I think that Bolden's ability in the intermediate short routes and his ability in the red zone make him a guy that should see 6 to 8 targets. And like Marvin Jones, for the same reason, although Marvin Jones has a much higher ceiling, 6 to 8 targets at that price range is rare. But because it's early, we're seeing those values. If you can guarantee 6 to 8 targets, which is hopefully around 6 catches and whatever yardage it comes to, like, that's a value.
And you could easily see them being, inside the 10-yard line, inside the 5, and Bolden catches that, that pass right over the middle.
Bolden going like 7 for 75 in a score. Like, that wouldn't shock me in the least. And that's 20 points on 45. I think Marvin Jones could do better. I think Marvin has the ability to go over 100 and catch 8 balls and score.
He's got the ability to go deep, though, too.
This game could get very crazy, and you should stack this game is more of the point.
Yes.
But these are some of those cheaper options that can get you exposure to that game without paying up for the likes of TY or Moncrief, who you should also pay up for, or Tate, or whoever.
And just to reiterate tonight's theme of not being contrarian, but pivoting off the popular play, like you just said, right? Tate, Marvin Jones, they're going to be very popular. I think TY and Dante Moncrief are going to be very, very popular. So looking at Bolden or Dorsett as a stack, right? Or, a Luck, Hilton, Dorsett, or a Stafford, Jones, Bolden stack, that's going to differentiate you, because I don't think a lot of people are comfortable stacking either a whole game or multiple receivers from the same quarterback. So, again,
even just correlation plays where you're playing 2 of the Detroit guys, 1 of the Indy guys, or 2 of the Indy guys, 1 of the, you're able to do that. You have 5, you can essentially get, I guess, 5 pass catchers from this game if you really wanted to in a stack, 3 wide receivers, and a tight end.
Yep.
Plus a quarterback. You can really stack this game.
Yep. Done.
And I think it's definitely worth a throw in a tournament. It's not, obviously you don't stack a game in a cash game, but it's going to be highly utilized, but there are ways to differentiate the game stack that'll make it worth it in a tournament if this game blows up.
Absolutely.
We saw it last year, like what the Saints
Giants game last year. Yep.
A lot of people for the same thing, game, but there were different stacks that did a lot better than others.
Yep.
Pivoted off the right guys.
All right.
If you know that it's going to be a big shootout game, there are still ways to differentiate and hit big in that game.
All right, let's move to our next receiver, and that's Travis Benjamin, $4,100. You think he's going to take the top off for San Diego there?
I think he has the opportunity to, and also I think Marcus Peters is really good. And as much as I love Keenan Allen, I don't know if Rivers is just going to pepper him going up against a corner that is that good. Obviously, I think Keenan does still have a good game, and it's a little more risky for DFS, but he's going to be able to take a shot at Benjamin at least once, and I think he'll be a lot more free in the field because he's not being guarded by Marcus Peters. There are going to be a lot of games this year where you want to target that number 2 wide receiver just based on who the number 1 is going up against.
Right, and this would be one of them, right? I totally agree with you. I mean, Peters is not really well known because he was a rookie last year, but he was fantastic. I mean, in the second half of the year, the guy was pretty much a shutdown receiver. I think he ended up winning Defensive Rookie of the Year. Guy was very, very good. Easily going to be taking on, number 1 wide receivers that are opposite him all year. So I totally get it. I mean, I'm not going to fade Keenan completely because I think he's going to continue to get that volume, but he's not going to get, I don't think he's going to get 12 for 150 and 2 scores against Marcus Peters.
Right. And again, this is a tournament play because Benjamin can take the top off of defense. And I mean, last year he did a lot when he would get 4 for 80 and a score or 5 for $122 and 2 scores. Like he has that ability to go off, and Rivers has the ability to get the ball downfield to him.
Right.
If you can find a way to get open that way.
Right.
Plus, I mean, they paid him a lot of money. They're going to involve him. He's going to have his targets. Again, that's another guy that you should get 6 to 8 targets at a very cheap price. And that's really all you can ask for.
That's it. All right, let's go on to our next one. Believe this is Michael Thomas sitting at 4K for the Saints here. So we just mentioned last year Saints-Giants was a big game. Looks like Saints-Raiders is going to follow that. Everyone's expecting this to be a high-scoring game, looking to get pieces of both sides. Michael Thomas at 4K, GPP only, but talk to me about his upside here.
I think it's more of a pivot off of Fleener. And because one of those guys needs to be the red zone target for Breeze, because it's not Cooks because he's short. It's not Snead. He's short. I mean, it's not Ingram, although, I mean, he's not going to get those red zone targets. He has to throw it to somebody. I mean, this could be one of those weeks where it's like Josh Hill gets 3 touchdowns again, like we had, what was that, 2 years ago or last year? Where I called it, I said I could see Josh Hill going off for 3 touchdowns, and he did.
Oh, God.
But as far as like those big wide receivers that they have, I don't think Coleman's going to get enough snaps. I think Thomas has the ability to make plays outside of the end zone to help pad that number also. And if he's able to get a touchdown, he's worth it by itself. So, I mean, worst case scenario, you're getting 7.1 points for a touchdown if he does it, and he will get other passes, especially in a game like this where it's going to be a shootout and he's going to be on the field a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Again, another guy that's going to get 6 to 8 targets, at least, in my opinion. He'll be on the field. It's going to be one of those – New Orleans defense is bad. They're going to have to throw the ball.
Right.
And I think it's more of a pivot play. You're basically trying to figure out which one of Fleener or Thomas has the better chance of a touchdown, and Thomas is the cheaper option.
Yeah, I'm not sold on Fleener. I don't know why.
I just think he's struggling a little bit, and it's a nice pivot. I think Fleener will eventually figure it out just because purely from the
because they do. Right.
He could be awful. He could be super inefficient, but we've seen super inefficient players do well with target volume. So I don't think that's really as much of an issue. But Thomas has had more time to really get on the same page with Breeze than Fleener has apparently so far. Mm-hmm. And I'll take the cheaper. If I'm going to take a shot on somebody getting a touchdown from Breeze, I'll take the cheaper option. Because you never know where that ball is going in that offense to begin with.
All right, let's see. If I go to the next one, we're looking at Rishard Matthews. So let's pair him. He's at $3,300, and we spoke about pairing him with Tajay Sharp, $3,000. Which one do you prefer and why?
Tajay, because I think he has built the most rapport with Mariota, and they're going to need to throw the ball. And I think he trusts him already. He's the reason they got rid of Dorial Green-Beckham. He's an outstanding route runner. He had, I think it was like 111 or 121 catches last year at UMass. He's a good receiver. I mean, he's not the most athletically gifted. He doesn't have the biggest hands, but he's big. He's like around 6'1", 6'2". He can play the outside. He can play the slot. He can move around, and he just has that route running technique, his ability to get open, that a quarterback with Mariota's skill set is perfect for him because all he just wants to get the ball out, especially in their exotic smash mouth. As far as passing the ball, they're not just going to sit in the pocket and wait for guys to go deep. They're going to get the ball out quickly. And I think Sharp is perfect for that. Rishard is also, I mean, we saw it last year. He had good games last year with Tannehill, and Tannehill's not good. So I personally, somehow I think Mariota is better than Tannehill, and I can't believe I'm saying that after all the shit I talked about Mariota last year.
Yes.
But I think it frees him up with his legs too, but I just think that Sharp could be I don't want to compare them like perfectly, but like he could be almost like that Jarvis Landry of Tannehill to Mariota. Light. I'm not saying they're going to be the same and he's going to go off like that. But I'm saying a similar type of player where he can do a lot in the short and the intermediate areas of the field and kind of be a PPR monster. And again, I think it's 4 catches for 50 yards he's value at 3K. I'll take a shot. I'm going to take a lot of shots on that.
And to just to clarify, both GPP plays.
I would go sharp and cash.
Think so?
Yeah. Well, I think he's too cheap.
He is.
He doesn't do that well. It's still.
You're looking at what? Probably 6 to 8 targets is 6 targets is a floor for him.
8 targets at minimum pricing.
At min price.
Can't ask for more than that.
Okay. I can bite.
And if he doesn't do that well, I mean, I promise you, he's catching the ball at least once, unless he gets hurt. Knock on wood.
Knock on wood. Thank you.
But he's not going to get you 0, and at 3K, you need 9.
Okay, so that's about it. I mean, I am.
I'd be rolling. I don't really play much cash anymore, but I'm rolling. If I were playing cash, I'd be comfortable rolling him, and I'm going to be rolling him a lot in tournaments.
So I think both of their ceilings are very low, just because of that game flow, and because I don't. I like the Vikings defense.
Yeah.
I don't think. I just think that game's going to be very low scoring. So I think their ceilings are both low, but I agree with you that Sharp could easily hit value at 3K min price. So I hear you on that.
You don't need him to get a touchdown.
Okay, so
you need him to catch 6 balls for 60 yards, and it's way worth it.
4x. That's even better than value. So
worth it. And if
we're gonna
play into the end zone.
All right. So let's skip Terrell Pryor since we mentioned him with RG3. He's sitting there at 3K. Just a heads up. And we'll move to our last receiver, Jared Abbrederis, 3,300. This is my boy. I loved him ever since they drafted him. Finally got on the field at the end of the year last year and got hurt again. He's coming in. He had a pretty good end of the preseason. He's coming in for the pack, wide receiver 3 or 4, depending on the package that they're putting out there. He's in my eyes, he's better than Devontae Adams. So I'd hope that he leapfrog Adams and at least get the wide receiver 4 spot. But even if they line up 5 wide, Abbrederis is going to be on the field. Complete punt play here, right? $3,300, GPP only. Rodgers likes to spread the ball around, but there's no guarantee Abbrederis is going to see more than 4 targets or more than 3 targets in this game. So he's got the potential to get on there again in a 5-wide set, a 4-wide set, and catch a good 30-yard pass, 25-yard pass, or even more, so get some yak there. But, I mean, I'm not going to have any shares of Abbrederis, but I won't hate on it for a GPP. Like, again, paying up at 2 or 3 other spots really, really high up, you need this guy in there. I wouldn't mind seeing Abbrederis in a wide receiver 3 or your flex spot.
See, I think I like him a little bit more than that, just because I'm not sure how many snaps they're going to give Jordy. And I think that he'll be on the field almost all the time, and that might equate to more targets than you think he's going to be able to muster. So, like,
and I hope I'm wrong.
It's more of a play on I'm not sure how many snaps Jordy's going to get, so the added opportunity for the low cost is something that I'm willing to take a chance on.
And it's a good pivot off of Cobb, because I think everybody else that thinks the way that thinks what you said is going to go right to Cobb instead.
Like, I would be fine playing a lineup like, let's say I have Rodgers, Cobb, Yeldon, and Abbrederis in one lineup. I'd be totally comfortable rolling with that and figuring out the rest of my spots.
Interesting. I like it. I might have to start a lineup like that. I like it.
I'll let you know when I make it.
All right, let's take a look. We're going to move to tight ends, and let's stick with that game and that team, and let's look at Jared Cook at 2,900. Everything, as soon as the Packers got him, everything I read was Jared Cook is going to be great. He's never had a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, which I totally agree with, and I think 2,900 is a complete steal for this guy. I think you're going to see him at 5K within a couple of weeks, and I think I'm way overweight on Jared Cook. I'm not hearing enough about him this week. So tell me, am I crazy? You got to talk me off talk me down here a little bit.
I am 100% with you on Jared Cook. One thing, you guys don't sign free agents. Like, this doesn't happen.
Never.
If you guys sign a free agent, that matters. That's a thing. Like, that. Like, I hate to call it, say narrative street, but when you guys sign a free agent, there's a reason and there's a use for them. Because you guys would much rather develop your own players than pick one off. But when you do pick them off, they usually turn out pretty well. So there's that. 2, all I've been hearing is good things about his relationship with Aaron, and that he's that target that that they've been missing in that offense. They need that receiving tight end that can really open up the middle of the field, help Cobb out in the middle.
Yep.
And having Jordy and whoever else stretching the field, there's going to be a lot of room for him to do things. And again, the last good tight end you guys had was Jermichael Finley, and it helped Rodgers out that season. And Finley had some pretty solid years when he was healthy there. So, and again, like we've seen Cook explode. Like this, it's not
right. He's had good games.
It's
he's
not like
very good games.
His career high game is like four catches for 60 yards and a touchdown. This guy's had some monster games with some really bad quarterbacks. Think about
Matt Hasselbeck, baby.
Case Keenum.
Yes.
Whatever just dumpster fire the Rams have had the past couple of years. Bradford, Foles. He played in Tennessee for a little while before he went over there. Like, he has had some really bad quarterbacks. Like,
yes.
awful.
Yes.
That is a big jump to go from just the pure garbage that he's been having throwing him the ball to probably the best quarterback in the game right now. Like,
yes.
And you're at 2,900.
I'll take it.
If he gets 5 targets, I'm happy with the process of playing Cook.
I will gladly take it. All right, let's move to our next tight end. And our cap was 3K, but we're gonna was it 3K or was it 35? 35, sorry. So Dwayne Allen at 3,200, another guy that I think he's actually been talked up a ton because of what we were talking about the game earlier, right? The Colts Lions game. Allen at 3,200 seems again like a steal. Very chalky. I think he's going to be one of, if not the most popular tight ends in cash games this week. Any reason to go deeper than everything we said about Bolden and Dorsett?
I'm playing CJ and Kelvin.
Wow, that sucks.
Yeah, that's really tough. Anyway, Dwayne Allen. When you're going this cheap at tight end, you're just praying for a touchdown. And Dwayne Allen is as good as it comes in the red zone. 2 years ago, when he wasn't as hurt as he was last year, he was monstrous in the end zone. I think he had 8 touchdowns in like 12 or 13 games. He's a favorite of Lux in the red zone because you have T.Y. Hilton that's short, Dorsett's short. He doesn't have the competition from Fleener, and the only other real red zone threat that he has with him, like we talked about in that New Orleans offense, there's only like 2 guys that he really has to throw it to. In Indy, it's going to be Moncrief and Allen that are really going to be going up against each other for those red zone and inside the 10 targets, those money targets that you want for those touchdowns. So if Allen can get you a touchdown, he's hitting value basically automatically. And I think he has the ability to do a little bit more with those increased targets because he doesn't have to share with Fleener anymore.
Absolutely. That's huge. Let's move to our next tight end. I watched this guy in college, and I was never impressed. I don't know how he's still, he's their starter. It's Clive Walford, 3K in Oakland. They're playing the Saints, so, I mean, he's kind of you got to have some shares of him if you're putting in a bunch of lineups. You get, super cheap way to get access to this game. I mean
also the Saints are putrid against tight ends.
And that's really the argument, right? It's not that Walford's great. It's that the Saints suck.
Well, specifically against the tight end position. They bleed points to wide receivers and tight ends. Bleed.
Yes.
It's bad. So
that's it. I don't want to go too much into him because, again, you're not playing it for his skill. You're playing it because the opponents are that bad.
I think I'm a little higher on Walford long-term than you are, I'm guessing. But
long-term, sure, but I'm just talking this week.
The opportunity for him to score a touchdown, again, there's the value. That's all you need from your 3K tight end.
Right. Okay, so I was a little confused by Dennis Pitta here at 2,600. Is he confirmed as a starter? Was what's up with Crockett Gilmore over there?
Well, Crockett Gilmore isn't as good as a receiving option as Pitta, and from what I've heard, Pitta will go. His hip is healthy. He's ready to go. Yeah.
Okay.
He's had a long time to recover from that hip issue, so you would hope that he is fine and ready to go. It's purely lotto ticket, tournament only. Don't touch him in cash. But one of these tight ends is going to do well. And again, like you said, there's Crockett Gilmore. There's also Max Williams. All three of these guys are talented and offer different things. Gilmore's better blocking. Max Williams, I think, is the best all-around and best future prospect that they have there. But I think Pitta right now is a better receiving threat because he's shown it and he has that trust factor with Flacco. Flacco loves this guy. And
yes,
he has him on the field, and he's physically capable of playing a lot of snaps. Flacco's going to go to him because Flacco loves this guy, and this has been one of his most dependable targets for however long he was healthy before these hip issues started. This was a guy that was being drafted as like a top 6 tight end for a little while because of that.
And that's true because of the
developed with Flacco.
Yep.
So, and I think that we want Flacco I don't really want it, but like I don't think he's going to throw as many of those pizza balls on that knee right now. And I think that he's going to skew a little bit shorter, closer to the line of scrimmage this game at least while he tests that knee because I think he's still wearing the brace and it's not 100%. So I think that those intermediate targets are going to be there. And one of these tight ends is going to have a good game. I just don't know which one. And if I'm guessing, I'm taking Pitta.
Okay. Pure guess, though, right?
Pure guess. Yeah.
Pure guess.
Don't yell at me on next week when you say I use Pitta everywhere and he did poorly. No, that's not what I'm recommending. I'm recommending that I'm guessing that he might have a good game. So if you want, use that as that information. Don't use it as I said you can play him everywhere and be fine.
Right. All right. Let's move to defense now. We've got 3 to go through really quick. First being the Packers sitting at 2,800. I like them a lot. Bortles turned the ball over, I think, more than any quarterback in the league last year.
He's one of the higher sacked quarterbacks in the league too.
Higher sacks too, so even better. I mean, I'll take the Packers at 2,800 with the hopes of even if it's a high scoring game, there's a potential for a pick six. There's a potential for a lot of points on sacks or turnovers. You know, you're still looking at getting value back from your $2,800. It's not a lot.
Right. It's a very defense, obviously. I mean, there's no stupid high defenses this week. There's nobody above 4,000, right? I think
4,000 or 41 is the highest.
No, I think Seahawks are 39 only.
Oh, 39. Sorry, 39. You're right.
36. So if you have that extra money, I would recommend spending up. But this is a defense that could get you turnovers. They could start to pile up the sacks a little bit, and they have that potential to score a touchdown.
Yeah. So I'll take that all day with 2,800.
It's a cheap defense. This is a good matchup for them, just based on how this Jags offense has historically shown to be, at least for last season.
So moving on to the next game, the Titans are the next team. The Titans at 2,600. Is this strictly because Shaun Hill sucks?
Well, it's either I think Shaun Hill's not that good, but it's also if Bradford's playing. I mean, I don't think he's fully on page with his offense and his receivers, and there are mistakes that can be made. And
I like it.
There's low play volume. That means there's less chances to score. It'll be a low-scoring game regardless, so you're not going to – I don't think the Titans are going to give up 35 points this week against a team that doesn't really look like they're going to throw the ball a lot. And I just don't see Adrian Peterson going for 250 and 3 scores, so that's really the only way they're going to score 35 points. They have some talent there, and I think they can – a couple sacks. That Minnesota line isn't the greatest. They kind of have that ability of having pass rushers get to their quarterback. So, it's a punt play. It's cheap. You can take a shot. It's not a cash game play. But
it's not a cash game play. I don't know if I'm thinking they're going to rack up the sacks, but I do see turnovers there. I do see the potential for a pick six. And like you said, mistakes being made with Shaun Hill not having the best chemistry with with his receivers, his pass catchers, period. So yeah, I don't mind it at all. As a $2,600 defense coming at you, I'm in for it. I'll probably have a little bit of exposure to it, and also the fact that gives me another reason to root against the Vikings. So I always like that. Let's see, our last defense of the night, Cleveland at 2,300. We're looking at
the end.
That's it. We talked about Wentz earlier. Hardly played, rookie quarterback, first real game. We know that Cleveland's defense isn't number one, but this is the lowest priced defense out there, and it's playing a rookie quarterback. I will take my chances, I think, and have at least one share of that Cleveland defense.
Not in cash. Tournament only.
Not in cash at all. But I'll have at least one share.
If you need the spare dough, there are worse shots to take. Because again, rookie quarterback.
Yes.
This is one of those games where both defenses could really outshine the offense.
Yep.
Because the offenses really aren't that good right now. If
That's it.
He struggles and Wentz struggles, both defenses are good plays, but the Browns are over $1,000 cheaper, I think, right? Philly's what, 33, 34 or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
They're one of the higher defenses this week because they're playing the Browns.
These defenses are so cheap. Like, the prices are so strange.
Yeah, they always start strange, and then they get a little different.
But what's interesting, though, is FanDuel is so much easier to put a lineup together than DraftKings. Have you been on FanDuel at all yet?
No, I don't play FanDuel.
Oh, my God. So I hopped on there today. I put together a lineup that I loved in, 2 minutes. DraftKings, it takes me at least 10 or 15 to, just play around and try and find guys left and right. Oh, my God.
I got DraftKings ones out quick.
Really?
Yeah, once I know who my first quarterback and first wide receiver are, it's just that guy. I wanted to put this guy in, and then how much money do I have left?
Yeah.
Let's see. That's some of my lineups. Let's see. What do we got here?
All right. While you're looking that up, let's go through really quick and answer some this or that questions. Spencer asked Alex Smith or Tyrod.
Tyrod, 100%. Tyrod's going to go bonkers. The Ravens still secondary, really, really bad.
Yes.
That was going to be the first lineup that I brought up is Tyrod, Sammy Stacks. It's going to be so much fun.
And the Baltimore pass rush isn't going to be 100% either. You can't expect.
Dumerville's not playing. Suggs is in his first game back.
Yeah. So, okay, cool. Demarco or Lamar Miller?
Probably Lamar, just because
Absolutely
they're
Lamar.
much. I mean, I was just thinking as far as price goes, because Demarco is much cheaper, but Demarco has a very tough defense to face. He is more likely to split carries, and they're not favored. Lamar's favored, even though that line isn't great. He catches passes. He's going to be out there on all three downs, and that's really all you need against a bad defense in the Bears. Their Bears front seven is talented, but he has the ability to catch the ball also. So even if he's not effective running the ball, which is a possibility, he still add points through the air, which I can't promise. DeMarco has that ability, but I can't promise that's how they're going to use him.
Right.
Where I know that O'Brien is going to get Lamar Miller the ball any way he can.
Yes, very much so, and I'm looking forward to it. All right, man. That is it. Thank you guys very much for tuning in.
Hold on. You want to hear that Tyrod lineup?
Hold on. We got one more. Langford or Woodhead?
Langford,
easy.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Let's hear the lineup.
Tyrod, Rashad Jennings, Spencer Ware, Mike Evans, Julio, Watkins, Jared Cook, Tajay Sharp, Vikings defense.
Rashad, huh?
Oh, yeah. Love Rashad. Again, like I said, Dallas defense bad. Very, very bad. I think the Giants win this game. If Rashad Jennings gets 60% of the touches, like I think he will. And remember last year, that was probably our best call week 17. Rashad Jennings was a big play, and he finished RB1. So,
but wasn't Vereen out that week?
Well, the last 4 weeks, they finally started giving Rashad Jennings 60 to 70% of the
They gave him – that's right, too. Yeah. So, they finally stopped trying to feed Andre Williams.
He's good. His concern has always been health. Again, like Ryan Matthews. in a good matchup, if he's healthy going in, I'm fine playing him. I don't know how much I would trust him season long.
Right.
Honestly, I'd probably trust Rishard more than I trust Matthews season long. But he catches the ball, he's effective at the goal line, and he's a good running back.
Right.
So those are the three things you need, really. A good market share, the ability to catch, the ability to do things at the goal line, and a healthy yards per carry. And I'm very happy with that. And I have Jared Cook, who I think is easy value. Tajay Sharp is easy value. And then I have the upside of Evans, Julio, Watkins, plus Tyrod's legs, plus Ware, plus the Vikings up against the Titans. I like that lineup.
I do too. Please send it to me.
I will.
All right. That's it for us. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, if you guys have any questions, comments, go ahead and hit us up on YouTube. Leave a comment there. Make sure you click the thumbs up, like the video. That helps us out in the search results as well. Hit us up on Twitter. Again, if you want to join the DK League, hit me up on Twitter. I'll invite you, and hopefully we can get something going for a season-long league here on DK as well. That's it for Alex. Pete, he couldn't make it this week, but hopefully he makes it next week. We will see you guys then. Good luck this weekend. Peace.